he said an hour. We'll see what happens. It was like they knew by the Rebbe. It doesn't, it's not like limited. But the Rebbe mamish framed himself.
Everything for what's his name, for Rivkin?
It was covered the Sefer Torah. Sefer Torah was big things. They went around. They got petitions that the Rebbe should come. They invited the Rebbe, and the Rebbe answered a very interesting answer. It was like very interesting. Everything. The Rebbe sent a hand, a yad for the Sefer Torah. Many different things. What is it called? Ornaments, things for the Sefer Torah. The crown, the yad, everything, and the mental, everything was for the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin. It was a very special. It was like they made a new Chanukas Habayis, a new shul, Beis Menachem. It was like big things. I don't know. It was like everybody was thinking, it's really going to happen soon. Because it was like, it was really getting, the Rebbe really was very open with it.
There's a famous picture, the Rebbe hold the crown.
That's it. Oh, there's a few times. It depends what year it was. In 1970, Tov Lamed, the Erev Yud Shvat, the Rebbe also put on the crown on the Sefer Torah of Mashiach. Right. That they wrote for the greeting of Mashiach. And 11 years later was this one. It depends what year it is. But over here, there's a difference. Over there, the Rebbe puts the Sefer Torah on the crown on the Sefer Torah. Here, the Rebbe just gets up slightly and gives him the crown. And everybody gets up then. The Rebbe says, B'Shem Kol HaKol. It's a video.
And what did Rivkin have to do with it?
He was the one that sponsored it. He's a Yid in Kfar Chabad. And he is the one that, I think he has a restaurant or something. He's the one that sponsored it. He was like very, very active, and he put it together. I think this was after Lamed Ches, after the heart situation by the Rebbe. So it was like, so they decided to make a shul, the Rebbe's name.
How many years after the heart attack?
Probably 2 years, yeah. I mean, it took time till they built the shul, but they... and there's interesting answers. I kept a diary then. There were interesting answers that Rebbe gave him.
The shul was the replica of 770.
So that's one that's there now?
That's the one? Yeah.
The replica.
That's it.
770.
Is it?
Still there, no?
No. That's another one. That one was finished by the court case time. That was finished in Mem Vov. And the Rebbe then asked that all the Svarim should be sent to that building. This is a regular Beis Menachem.
This is not a shul over there.
It's like a hall or something.
Whatever, yeah,
you see the Fabrengens, when you go online and you see the Fabrengens in Kfar Chabad, this is the shul what they use, like a big auditorium.
Let's say something, Menachem and something that's there. I don't know.
Yeah. When the Kudes Habir Bazeh, the B'diyah Shayich Raka Sheyesh Mitziyah Shalinyan HaMenaged. And we speak about redemption, this is only when there is an existence of an opposer, an enemy. When there's no place for someone against the opposite side, there is no need for redemption. Since the union of Kedusha is the only way and the only entity. When there is also the opposite, which means the union of darkness and foolishness, which is the opposite of light and wisdom of Torah. So there needs to be then a redemption from darkness and foolishness. This redemption leads and brings about that the sanctity, this sacred site, should be in a way of Yisrael, which means there should be a contribution of an additional light, which comes out exclusively from darkness, and wisdom that comes out exclusively from foolishness. Which means that when there is darkness, and then there's light after that, this means we convert darkness to light. So that darkness is a unique darkness. As Shlomo Melech says in Keheles, like light in comparison to darkness. So Chassidus asked the question, the Rebbe asked, Shlomo Melech was a smart person. So he needs to tell us, I saw there's a difference between smartness and foolishness, like the difference between lightness and darkness. So Chassidus says, no. And Nachtzach, it's based on the Zayar. Not that he's saying he's talking about the difference between them. He is speaking about a light that comes from the darkness. And wisdom that comes from foolishness. And when it's converted, it has a stronger potential. Through the redemption, there's an additional dimension of light and wisdom. Not only in quantity, also in quality. So this redemption that accomplishes, there should be lightness and wisdom and intuition also in quality, so this comes from the redemption. This redemption could be in two formats. Redemption in a way that there's war that comes before it. And actually this alone is accomplished by war. And then a redemption that comes in a peaceful way. So what is David HaMelech? King David says in this pasuk, in this verse, he says, here is something special. This redemption is not an ordinary redemption. It is in a peaceful way. And this itself, that in this itself, if it is in war, through war, if it is in a peaceful way, could be in two formats. Each one of them could be in two formats. If the redemption is that he's standing close to the one that is being refined and redeemed, which means that a person is doing a mitzvah. He is redeeming the sparks of a sacred spiritual world that is found in these physical matters, in these physical objects. So he's standing close to them. This is called mizbarer. Mizbarer means he's standing close to the spark which is being refined and selected. Lashon boirer. He's selecting, he's taking out the good from the bad and elevating it back, restoring it to its original status and level. V'anifda is also the one that's being redeemed. We're talking about Pada V'Sholem. Afsha adayin leinis barer v'nifda, although he wasn't yet selected and redeemed and taken out, or this waging of the war to redeem the spark, and also the second inyan, that it's in a peaceful way, could be in a way that it's in a remote. Not that he's standing close to the what he is trying to redeem, but it can be in a remote way. That it's not standing close to it, but he's standing far from it. And he's accomplishing what he needs to accomplish. So the Rebbe says that here David HaMelech specifies exclusively what he is talking about. What is it? What is he talking about? Shabdiye mikrovli, hainu from the kiruv. That it's in a way of kiruv, he's standing close. That this redemption relates to something that the one that's redeeming and the redeemed are close in close range one to another. Like the Mittel Rebbe, who he himself was redeemed on the 10th of Kislev. I can't say the words he commemorated his redemption because he never made it his redemption, to a year later. A year later, a day before his redemption, the first anniversary, he was nostalgic. Passed away.
His birthday.
On his birthday, right? So he never made it then. And I heard it years ago, and Meshach years I never heard this word. Chassidim were talking with the Mittel Rebbe before his Istalkos about commemorating Yud Kislev, like Yutes Kislev. So the Mittel Rebbe said, there's Yud Kislev and there's Tes Kislev. And what he was referring to is the Istalkos. And that's when the Nigen is, the Rebbe Geisen Freilach Zayin, they sang it on that Yud Kislev, a day after his passing. They sang it in a very solemn way. The Rebbe asked to be joyful, joyous, because it was a day after the Istalkos.
The Tzemach Tzedek was his son?
No, his son-in-law and nephew. But he had a son, Rab Nochem. So B'meila, the Alter Rebbe, the David HaMelech discloses everything very specific. It is a redemption. It is a redemption in peace. And the redemption in peace is in the format of mikrovli, that the Redeemer and the one that being redeemed is in close range one to another. So the Rebbe continues. We'll figure out what this 5 is. P'diya b'teikev she'ein mokem l'shinoi. V'li. V'li. Poder ki b'rabim v'dolashim poder v'shal nafshi mikrov li. Mikrov, close, li. The word li means p'diya b'teikev. It shows on a strength. She'ein mokem l'shinoi, that there's no change. What is